morning everyone. This is our little next YouTube video. I want to discuss hot water tanks and changing the hoses. Why you would change the hose and how to change the hose. You can usually look at the tank and you can usually see a leak. There's a couple things to discuss here and understand. The first thing is usually shutting off the water. On this side here, where that pipe is right there, if you guys can get a visual on that, that pipe has a shut off valve behind the flute, or this stack going to, or this breaching going to the stack. It's the exhaust, okay? I have an HVAC unit on the other side. They tie in together, go through the roof. You will shut off the water so you can drain the tank. On this side is the cold water supply. Usually it'll say cold, it'll say in. On the other side it should say hot or out. At least here, this is the norm in the US of A, on northern east coast where I worked for most of my life. Okay, I recently did have to change this one, and it was because I was getting black particles coming out of the hot water in the tub and stuff like that. Mostly what happens is this hose would get hot and it would disintegrate the rubberized material inside, and this is where I would get that black stuff coming out. So if you're getting black stuff coming out of your tub or something like that, this might be the hose you want to change, the hot water side. Okay, I have seen some odd stuff, no BS. I have seen the cold water outlet coming from this side, the opposite side, and I have seen a shut off on there, or I have seen two shut offs, and I had to physically touch the cold side, touch the hot side before I shut off the water, so I knew which was which. So that's a good idea, okay? You're trying to get flexible hoses like this. You don't want anything too rigid, because if you get anything that's too rigid to make that turn, sometimes you can kink the hose and it won't work right. Another thing is, when you're tightening the hoses on, you're trying to compress the O-ring here. You're trying to hold this part steady right here, where my pointer is at, and you're trying to tighten the nut, and you're trying to compress the ring. You're not trying to twist this side right here. Okay, you want to keep this side steady so you don't kind of destroy the washer inside. Okay, you can use Teflon tape, pipe dope, joint compound, Teflon paste, whatever you want. Usually a good thick Teflon tape works good here. Okay, usually you don't have too many problems. They don't usually have to be that tight. Some people have higher PSI water. We have 85 PSI here, which is pretty high for where I'm at. That's not the norm. Usually it's a little bit less. And if you're in a rural area, it can be a lot less and things don't have to be as tight. Okay, you got your exhaust right here. You got your inlet and your outlet. Okay, this is the norm for the tanks that I work at. In part 2 of this, I'm going to head to the shop. I'm going to show you the hoses. I'm going to show you different fittings, and I'm going to discuss some of the complications you might run into. Things are really tight here in this area here, so at least I'm giving you a physical view of what's going on. I'm trying to describe how you're going to shut off the water and what's going on. Okay, I think this is all I need for right now for part 1, and I'll head to the shop in a little bit and I'll add it to this video. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye. Okay, you guys, this is part 2. First thing is first, happy Easter to those who celebrate Easter. Hope you had a good Friday yesterday. This is part 2 of this video. We're talking about installing hoses, and we want to discuss some of the issues I run into. In part 1, I gave you a visual of the area, some of the connections. I used a pointer to try to discuss a few things. Here, it's a little easier to work. It would be much more difficult to try to work in that tight area with tools and the camera. So I'm doing part 2 as a tabletop. If any of you want to know, you think the video quality is good, this is the Canon 80D with the kit lens. This is the 18-135 USM Nano motor. Very nice lens for video and photography. Do have several other lenses, you guys can see that, but either way, here we go. These are a stiff hose here, this one here, the silver one. It's easier to kink this when you're trying to install it if you can't get a good run. Okay, This is a lot more flexible, this hose here. Very easy to install in difficult situations. I also have a metal one. Let me go get it. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry about that. There's the metal one. I've seen them in copper also. Never really used these. If the run is good, it's not a weird bend, these work fine. If you got a weird bend like most of the time we do, they might be a little more difficult to install. Okay, they do come with 2 compression fittings in case you need it. Does have a little thing of Teflon tape. So it depends how easy the run is. In other words, is it from one connection here going to a straight run to the next connection, or is it something really weird that you have to make a weird bend and all kinds of things are in the way? Okay, I've never again really used these. I have seen them on tanks. I have taken them off. I've never really installed them, but they are available. And I would say you want to use them where you have a nice run. Okay, where things are lovely, connections and so straightforward to the point, nothing crazy. Okay, we understand this one is stiff already. We understand this one is a lot more flexible. Okay, mostly get you out of almost any bind, something like this. This is a 24-inch. Costs a little bit more, but works. These are 3/4 inch threaded pipe fittings, which is what you see on most hot water tanks today. Inlet, outlet. Okay. 1 family, 2 family, 3 family homes, you'll see something like this, depending upon the size of the tank. Over here we have a tight situation where the tanks have to fit in a certain area, so we use tall boys, and they're only 16.5 inches wide to get in that closet. Otherwise I got more difficulty I don't even get into just to get them in there. Recently I purchased these two crescent wrenches, and they're working good. The only thing is they don't back off. And sometimes when you get it on the fitting and you want to remove it, you have to back it off yourself. So they claim that this is not backing off. It's pretty good. You can see I got some pipe dope on there. Using it recently. Okay, I wanted the fitting, compression fittings or something like that. Yes, they work really good. The 12-inch I thought was going to be bigger. I didn't need it because I'm getting really good leverage. I have yet to have to use a pipe on the end of this for leverage. Where I was using prior to these two, I was using 14-inch aluminum and an 18-inch sometimes to break the fittings on gas lines or hot water tanks, because you'd be surprised the older they are, the corrosion, how hard it is to get them off. So these two are working lovely. I have no issues with these. Again, when they're on, they stay on. I have to actually go through the extra step to loosen them up to get them off to move around sometimes. Okay. These is what I was using prior. They do work in a lot of situations, but they don't work in every situation. Okay, they're a lot easier, a lot quicker to get in and out if you can get the fittings off with these. Okay, there's just 2 channel locks. I think these are made by Irwin, or might be made by Vice Grip. Apologize. They look like Irwin's. Yeah, they say Irwin right there. Excuse me. Right there, they say Irwin. Okay, you can see that right there. Okay. Now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. At times I'll have difficulty. I rarely have to use Teflon tape much anymore. Usually the fittings on the hoses have a washer inside, and as long as you don't let this side twist here, you're not going to destroy the washer. You just tighten this side. Okay, you'll do good to keep this side steady right here where my fingers are at, and then tighten just the nut. Okay, you won't deteriorate the washer inside, and you'll be fine. Okay, I have had times where I've had to put a compression fitting on, or there was a compression fitting there already and I took it off, and I would want to use a hose, or I want to reuse one of these, because this ring over here actually got compressed against the 3/4 inch copper pipe, and they won't move once they get compressed together. You have to actually cut them out, cut the pipe, and then hopefully you have enough space there to put another fitting on. But I've tried to reuse these fitting here where the nut was there, and at times I've been successful, but sometimes as much as it goes in here, I'm hoping you guys can get a visual
where it stops at, how far it actually goes in. It doesn't go in that far. Okay, goes into about there. Other times the older ones were deeper, so I would have to actually cut the pipe a little bit with a Sawzall. I have a battery operated Sawzall, 12 volt Milwaukee fuel, which I use. I think it's lovely. I'm totally ecstatic with that thing. So sometimes with these compression fittings, you'll try to tighten it and they'll leak, and you'll say, what's going on? You have to check the distance inside here. I believe it's called broach in when you talk about sockets. If it's deep enough. If it's not, you'll have to cut the pipe a little bit so you can get this fitting in there where the old washer and ring is at. Okay, so it's difficulty with this one. The other thing is you want to put some kind of pipe dressing on here, whether it's pipe dope or Teflon paste or something like that, because you need that extra lubrication to tighten things up easier or sufficiently. Okay, so that's really a necessary step on these fine threads here where you're using the compression ring. Okay, even sometimes around the existing compression ring or Teflon tape around the compression ring if you're getting a leak or something like that. Okay, you got an idea about that one, the compression ring. I tend to favor these because once they're in, they don't come out. They're easy enough to tighten up. One of the things I didn't discuss, well, maybe I did, these, despite the size, and you're looking here at the table, if you look at part 1 again, you see how small it is. Now that tank is about 60 inches high. So imagine me, a short guy like me, 5'6", whatever, 5'7" at best with my sneakers on. Trying to get my hands in that area and get leverage with this at different type of locations to loosen and tighten, or even 2 of these. So sometimes I do have difficulty with these. Despite I just got them, they are working out lovely. They take a little more time to get into place, stay into place, and move around, because the jaws again don't back off on this. Okay. Again, the channel locks, the Irwin Vice Grip channel locks work really good. Very fast if I don't need that extra torque to break things free. Okay, so you understand about the compression fitting already, and the ring and the nut and all that. This one here is basically a shark bite. I'm really hoping you guys can see the teeth in there. I think you can. I wonder if it'll focus. Yep, yes you can. Look at that, it will focus. Okay, so you guys can see the teeth in there. Alright. This is an actual shark bite. I think it should say it on there. Even with my glasses, I'm having trouble saying this might not be a shark bite. It should say it somewhere, and I'm having trouble seeing that. But you would cut the pipe there, and this has again a broach that goes inside. Might go to about the edge of this lip right here. And usually you want to mark on the pipe, and you want to clean the pipe first with some kind of some kind of cloth, like emery cloth or something like this, or sandpaper, whatever. You want to clean that pipe so you don't have any debris on there where these teeth can actually start to pull out. Okay, if the pipe freezes, I've seen this on someone else's video where these can pull out. So if you're afraid you got an area where the pipe might freeze, you might not want to use shark bite. Okay, I tend to get nervous around them, but I'll clean the pipe first, and with that emery cloth you saw there, and then I'll push this in all the way to the edge. I usually make a mark on the pipe, how far it has to go in, and make sure I reach that mark. Okay, usually I don't have issue as long as I clean the pipe. Okay, and I reach that mark where I need to reach. I don't just put it in with grabs, I put it all the way in as far as it'll go. Okay, something to note on this one. Okay, this is just in case I got to drain the tank a little bit. I can open up the spigot on the bottom, okay, if I'm using a garden hose or something like that. It's the only reason it's on the table. Okay, magnetic base on here, the light here. I can put it on sometimes the HVAC unit I'm working on, so I can get light angled. Okay, extremely versatile. Favorite light to use right now. Okay, I don't think I have anything else for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I hope you have a great holiday, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.